BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy to this slightly newer looking BRB UK. It's episode 553. Coleman has some new video toys to make our video shows with of an audio podcast. Makes sense to somebody. To me, not necessarily. Yeah. Hi. You're back this week, Coleman. How was life in the super secret garage in which you work?
Yeah, well, I was actually trying a new venture. I now do TikTok live streams where I pretend to be an AI and say things like "Thank you for the roses" and "gang gang" and tasty ice cream.
And is it because that your big baldy head makes you more easily a drop-in for an AI clone?
Yes.
There's less face to render. Well, there's actually more face to render, but less complicated head to render.
It has been said more than once in my life that people look at me and get that feeling of uncanny valley, so I just felt it was a natural step.
Is that your face, or are you showing them something else?
Just, wow.
Got an uncanny valley face.
It's very polygonal down there.
Wow.
Like an old David Cage video
I don't know
game.
where to go with this, so I'm just going to throw it over to Tim. Tim, say hello.
Hello.
One of the few situations where I'm actually going, Tim, please interrupt me. And
that's a first, I think, in 553 episodes.
Exactly. How's your uncanny valley? Is it good?
Fine.
Great.
Yeah. Looks
nice.
A bit weird, but otherwise okay.
It looks a bit weird.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to me about it?
No.
All right. After the show, it's all good.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that you have been loving life as an AI influencer, Coleman, and that's your next.
Gang.
Yes, I know what that means.
Mate, I know
kids.
You're not usually up on the pop culture type stuff, but I'm going to show you some videos that are going to make you weep for the current generation of kids growing up.
Oh, no. I know. When I was going for my evening walk this evening, I saw some bloke constantly just video his walk that he was on while playing music by popular rap artist Dave at full blast from his phone.
I prefer Chaz.
He wanted. I know Chaz is frankly the superior rap artist. He was trying to look really, really rock hard for some reason while walking around the back streets of Slough.
Lovely. Gang.
Why do the kids these days have to video everything? That's what I don't understand.
Why do the youth of today?
God damn it. No, but seriously, what the actual knobs is all that about? I don't get it.
I'm more concerned with the playing music out of their phone thing. That bothers me more. Like someone was doing it really loud on the tube the other day. It's just like, no one else wants to listen to your music, dude. Like, I can't even hear my head music over my headphones.
Now,
here's what I don't get. Shut up, Coleman.
Yeah.
Let the grown-ups speak for a minute, all right?
The old people.
Here's what I don't get.
Hold on, wait. Dan needs centre stage for this. There you go.
Right.
Thank you. Okay. So nice technique. Wow, my face is big. You can buy things with my face on it at tpublic.com/store/BRB. /BRB. My face. Buy it on the shirt. Like where people are trying to speak on their phone. Okay, out loud. That's fine. You're wondering about. You've got a phone call to take. What I don't get is why people don't just hold it to the side of their face.
Oh, yeah, that bugs me as well.
They speak into the end of it and then listen to the same end where the microphones are.
Yeah.
Sounding old.
Why do that? The speaker is at the other end of the phone. You, sir, are a dimwit.
The thing that bothers me more is they're not even old enough to like remember the old Star Trek communicators where that may make some sense. It makes no sense otherwise.
Hang in there, Coleman. No, but they're more like Motorola Razr phones, like the old flip phones. That kind of, that makes sense. But, speaking into the end of the phone where the microphones are, rather than listening to where the earpiece is, especially when you haven't got the flipping phone on speakerphone mode either.
Yeah.
Then I can
don't
understand
it at all. Yeah.
Then I can understand that, because that's where noise is coming from. But when you don't have it on speakerphone mode, while you listen to that end, which is so far away from where the sound hole is, I don't get it. Anyway,
no, don't understand.
Kids today.
This is what this show has evolved into.
Dan,
Oh,
what have we become?
That feels better.
Everyone's so old. I just wanted to talk about video games, but now we're moaning about the state of kids on the bus.
No, it was about kids on the tube.
They look shifty too. I don't trust them.
They bloody do. Well, no, to be fair, everyone does a bit in Slough, not going to lie.
Did they have their trousers around their ankles as well, Dan?
No, well, like the other night, one of my neighbours was attempting to eject someone from their back garden.
Oh,
wearing
wearing
a t-shirt.
Yep.
And this is a dude wearing a t-shirt, slightly too short,
right?
But socks, white, rolled up to his mid-calves, whilst trying to fight the assailant off with a spoon.
Spoon, you say? How about you knave?
Going on in Slough?
I don't know.
Why a spoon?
I mean, to be fair, the fella of my next door neighbour is a slightly strange dude anyway, to be fair. But anyway, that's a rant for another time.
Yeah.
What?
He probably says that about you.
What?
That geezer keeps talking to himself.
Yeah, exactly. Every week on a Thursday at around 6 p.m.
Yells out old-timey greetings and then just starts talking absolute tosh.
Yep.
For about an hour, sometimes an hour and a half.
Depends if some bloke called Tim's on.
Mm-hmm.
And then every 100 weeks he does it for a few hours.
Yep, and you can hear him questioning why he exists. Why? Why am I choosing another adventure? Why? Anyway.
So... it's been one of those. It's been one of those things that we like to call in the world of video games as a slow news week. So we got a bit of time to fill this week, which, in hindsight, I probably should have asked some questions from the audience. But anyway, yes. Just to sort of address you said at the start, Dan, we might be looking different. We might not be looking different. We might still be using the old template and all this kind of stuff. But we're trying some new software. We're moving over to StreamYard, which I think 80% of podcasts in the world run on StreamYard now, which, as the name implies, it means we might actually be able to do some live streams at some point. So
say what now?
If you want a live version of BRB UK, let us know. And two, it's a bit more lower latency, and therefore Tim isn't 5 minutes behind everything we say.
8 years behind.
He's now only 2.5 minutes behind.
No, it's a lot better. We can have conversations with Tim, and now we only talk over each other to be rude and not because of lag.
Exactly. Yeah. Now we know he's just being a knob if he's speaking over us. Before he could, it's totally latency.
We had a quick test last night, and we did a countdown and a check for the delay, and there was a delay, but it wasn't from there. I think it was just Tim being delayed. I went, that sounds a little bit behind.
Internal,
but we were talking
just a mental delay.
Yeah, we were talking, and it was just fine, but there was a slight delay at the start. Like, I think that might be.
But
Tim.
That's what you get when you speak to Tim, anyway.
Anyway, yes.
Processing.
Things might look different. They might not look different, but they will look different in the future because we're playing with new toys. I like the system.
Yeah,
not to say I didn't like our friends over at Riverside FM. They were really nice to us. They did a lot of things to help us, and it was a great bit of kit. Unfortunately, it was a bit too taxing for Tim's internet, so we had to look at other alternatives.
Well, I still can't work out entirely why, but still.
Yeah,
I think there's a phenomenon called operator error that might be.
Other people looked at it too, Dan.
I've gone around and have a look. I just think it's a bit too heavy on the bit rate for Tim to handle, and this one seems a little bit less. Although I've heard this one's quite resource heavy. Depends what you do with it, I guess, though. Anywho, right, that explains the video side and the audio side. Should we talk about some games we done played?
Please, for the love of goodness.
Because Tim's been playing a demo that I'm interested to hear about on the PlayStation 5.
Yes, me too.
Sea of Stars.
Yeah, now this is one that I believe it's coming to Game Pass and coming to some form of PlayStation Plus. I'm not sure which flavor of PlayStation Plus, but if anyone can keep track of the flavors of PlayStation Plus, I don't know. Essential and something else. I don't know, but one of them. But yeah, so this is one that they put out a demo ahead of time. It's a game called Sea of Stars, which is a bit of a generic name. I don't know about you. I kept on forgetting. I had to look up the name even after playing the demo to remember what the name was.
Again, Tim internal lag is possibly a problem.
Possibly the problem. Maybe user error.
It's also quite easy to mistake for the Maldives beach, which becomes the Sea of Stars thanks to bioluminescent plankton.
Well,
I
never.
I wanted to tell you a genuine fact. Bioluminescent plankton is the absolute tits. It's fantastic.
I know.
I've experienced bioluminescent plankton several times in my life, and it's always been a magical moment. So there we go. Fun fact.
I thought you were going to say there was like your band name in high school or something, or...
No. My band name was the North Circular Social Club.
Okay.
Bit like Buena Vista Social Club, but localised to the North Circular.
All good.
Look at that, bioluminescent plankton.
This was not bioluminescent plankton,
That's
but
a shame.
it was an isometric sort of... I hasten to use the word Japanese RPG, but JRPG is a kind of term that covers this style of game well, and I don't know of a better term for it. Perhaps one of you two can update my terminology there, possibly.
I think the problem is it's a descriptor that there was a little bit of outrage for that lasted all of 4 days, and it is quite a good descriptor for the type of RPG that exists. And I understand that some RPGs that come out of Japan don't get classed as JRPGs, like a Pokemon, for instance, whereas others do. But it's for the specific JRPG game. Yeah, for the specific type of genre you think about, JRPG is a pretty good descriptor. So I don't know.
I mean, from what I've seen in this game, I get a very heavy kind of Chrono Trigger vibe from it.
Yes, and I think it's definitely pulling from that. It's a bit more... Would you say Chrono Trigger was 16-bit graphics? I'm spacing.
Yeah, this is fancy bitmap graphics. I would say probably 32-bit.
32-bit is where I was going with it as a descriptor, basically. But I think the nearest parallel in recent releases is possibly Octopath Traveler. But I think Octopath Traveler was a bit prettier, just a little bit.
I think no. Octopath Traveler's kind of got like a diorama-y type thing. Look at you with the YouTube video. But yeah, this is kind of a very lovingly hand-done kind of isometric, pixely arty bit of goodness. I really like the visual style myself.
I think it was good. I just, as I said, I think possibly you might say that Octopath Traveler was the slightly prettier game, but it's still like an impressive... As I said, a bit more than 16-bit. You might go with a 32-bit description of the graphics in terms of the graphical style. But it is an RPG with turn-based combat. And turn-based combat particularly appeals to me. Although it does it's got a kind of a short section of the game, and then it gives you a slightly longer section of the game but it doesn't really have any of the tutorial stuff embedded in the game. It's just got a load of screens that tells you information that you can scroll through prior to playing the game, basically. And it tells you in that while it is turn-based, there is a kind of a timing mechanic for defending and attacking. So you will get a bonus to your attacks and you will get a bonus to your defense if you are hitting a button at the same time as in a sort of timing window for those attacks and defense, basically. So you can enhance your attacks and your defense by doing that. There's also various different skills, usually magic-based. There's 2 characters you can choose from to start with, a male or a female. The male character is kind of sun-based attacks, and the female character is moon-based attacks.
Is daughter-based attacks?
No.
No, different kind of sun.
Yeah, sun and moon.
All right. Sun and moon.
Solar and lunar, basically, based attacks.
Okay.
And yeah, that comes into play. Also, each character does various different types of basic attacks. So some of them kind of attacks with like sword-like properties, and some of them attacks with which I think it doesn't call sharp, it's something else. But then there's blunt type attacks as opposed to that as well. And enemies will have a little section of squares that come up above their head that tells you the type of attacks you need to do. I think they call them locks, and you need to break those locks to sort of do them more damage and get past them. But also, I think to stop them doing more damage to you as well, or to stop some of their attacks. And so you kind of can't just think about what you're doing, and say if and the one we just had on screen, I don't want to refer too much to what's going on screen for our audio listeners.
Pretend it's not there.
Well, pretend it's not there. But it had like a couple of lunar attacks that you had to do in a sequence of 4 attacks. So that might be difficult to do because you might have to make sure you're attacking with the only person that can do lunar attacks, and you have to try and get 2 lunar attacks in a short space of time. So that might be difficult to actually do with that character.
So just having a kind of a little look about what the battle system is as well. So obviously you've talked about there's kind of the magic-based attacks, and they're kind of element-based depending on who your character is.
Yeah.
But there's also like kind of the idea of a combo system as well. So how does that work?
I was just going to come on to that. Basically, I didn't get to grips with that in too much depth from the bit that I played. I only seemed to get access to the level 1 and at one point the level 2 combos. And I couldn't quite work out how that worked. You have like magic that you can refill, and both health and magic you can refill with items. Health you can refill with magic spells as well. So, and it did seem to be, I'm not sure it's particularly difficult because you can have characters that go down in the fight and you can still continue. It won't necessarily end the encounter just because one or two of your 3 fighters gets downed. But you do have to be like quite up on like healing your characters quite regularly. Otherwise, they will get injured and go down. There doesn't seem to be like a huge amount of health. I didn't get a good grip on things. Like, as I said, it showed you a little portion of the game and then a slightly larger portion of the game. The small portion of the game seemed to be earlier on, but then it didn't seem to be that much later on because you didn't seem to have a great deal more health. Although when you were leveling up, it did seem to add to the health. So I didn't get a good hold on sort of how much time had passed between the 2 sections of the game. But the section of the game it gave you, you're wandering around a small town called Brisk, and
a brisk walk, if you will.
A brisk walk. And basically trying to get the help of these pirates to get you to another area so that you can continue your main quest, basically. And yeah, the pirates were quite good humored. There was one pirate that kind of stuck with you throughout that quest that you had to go on their behalf so that they would then transport you somewhere else. And the one pirate that stuck with you had 2 eye patches, one over each eye. Which just seemed stupid and quite fun. Another pirate seemed to have a magic shirt which gave him like extra strength capabilities, but he seemed to have to burst out of that shirt to get those abilities. It was quite odd, but in an endearing way.
Hang on, did the shirt heal itself?
It did, because when he went back to his
cool
slightly
magic shirt.
It's basically, if you can imagine, he hulked out, but then when he hulked back down again, his shirt came back together and reformed.
Could it not just be a string vest?
Shirt.
It could be a string vest. Could be a string vest. I think it's a string vest.
Was,
yeah, it could have been a string vest.
I don't think string vests are magic. Last time I checked, Dan, maybe your neighbour was wearing a string vest in his spoon-based encounter, but I didn't see one in this game. But yeah,
I'm just very glad I didn't see the spoon-based encounter that probably preceded the outside spoon-based encounter. There we go.
The quest that you're going on sort of sees you going through a little dungeon that the pirates give you access to. That I believe there's a dead wizard or something that you're kind of going and try and find some artifacts that they left behind. But there's various crystals, and you use those crystals in different ways to go through different portals and find different things. But yeah, like I quite enjoyed it. I think it was, as you said, the graphical style looks quite nice. It is kind of, a fantasy-based setting, but it's got a kind of, even though it's a cartoonish style look, it's got a real world-ish kind of look to it as well. It's not like, I'm trying to think of the right description on that. It's not like a totally...
you're failing so far.
Well, yeah. But it's not like an out-and-out fantasy, say, like a Skyrim or that sort of setting. It feels more like... I can't think of a good parallel for it, basically. But, yeah...
Chrono Trigger?
Yeah, well, see... I know it looks like that from what I've seen, but I never played the original Chrono Trigger, so I don't know how much in presentation-wise it necessarily marries up to that. But even then, from what I know of it, I don't think it's a particularly good fit for that, basically. But yeah, like overall, I enjoyed the combat. The combat was quite good. It's got some interactive elements and it's got some tactical depth to it. I quite like the graphics. I quite like the world and the setting and everything else. So overall, I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see me playing a bit of this when it comes out. I think friend of the show Rick would particularly like this as well. I think this is
man they call Rick
sort of a man they call Rick. I guess the thing I've played most like it is like original Final Fantasy VII, basically. But yeah, like as I said, I enjoyed my time with it, and I will look forward to playing through a bit more of the game and seeing how the final game measures up. But from the bit they presented, I quite enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be looking out for it, especially as it's going to be coming to Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. So yeah.
Excellent. No, I like the look of that.
How
this
exciting.
one screams Steam Deck to me. So
Yes.
I have to see if I can pick that. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. I'll have to see if what the pricing like that is like for that when it comes out, and if that's Steam Deck verified, and if so, then I'll be picking that up. I reckon looks good.
We will have to have a little look. Because we could always check out the demo. I'd imagine that would be good to go on your massive dick.
Right. Well, I have not been playing a modern day console. I've been playing one of the consoles that's in its twilight years, and that's the Nintendo Switch. Because
that's very, very mean, dude. Come on,
it is in the twilight years, and
it's in its twilight years.
Jesus,
we'll get to that afterwards. But
no, the PS4's in its twilight years, mate. The Switch.
PS4
it's barely out of its midlife crisis.
All right.
Dan,
it's only just had a re-release.
The Switch was born in its twilight years, Dan.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair enough.
Anyway.
Well, that's not an unreasonable summary of the situation, to be
so
fair.
With the Nintendo Switch still being around, and the kind of the what is assumedly the final set of releases for the Switch, all being announced now, I've been playing Pikmin 4, which I didn't think I was going to play Pikmin 4 because I never played Pikmin 3. I've played 1 and 2 and recently re-picked them up again, but didn't go back to them.
Re-Pikmin them up?
Re-Pikmin them up, but didn't go back to them as much as I thought I would be, and instead jumped straight into 4. And some things have changed. I wasn't fully prepared for. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I shouldn't be. So anyway, it's a pretty good little game. It performs very well on the Switch, even though a few games have been coming out for Switch that haven't been performing as well. But when it comes to Nintendo first party, they tend to knock it out the park. If you don't know what Pikmin is, it's a kind of exploratory puzzle item finding game where you usually in previous games take control of a guy called Captain Olimar, who has traveled to a planet that's a bit like Earth. In fact, it's a lot like Earth. If everything is giant or he is tiny, his ship crash lands there, and then he encounters these strange little creatures called Pikmin, such as the title, that are kind of little weird alien creatures with flowers on their heads and have different abilities depending on what color of Pikmin they are. So to begin, you have red Pikmin, and then as you go on, you get different colors of Pikmin that can do different things, and then in the sequel games, you had like rock Pikmin and ice Pikmin, like ones that had elemental powers rather than just the colors. So
the rock says,
with that in mind, you have to go out into the world and you've got to find items, treasures that contain a particular energy resource. I think they call it Sparkinium or something along those lines. It's something that can power your ship.
Let's call it what now?
Sparkinium, I think it's called. Yeah, MacGuffin, basically.
Sparkinium.
But you find items that will sparkle, and then you can use that sparkly power to power your ship, and that's how you're going to get home. So, which lends itself to giving you cool little Easter eggs in the game, because you can find things like a watch or a tube or a bell or something, and other times you might find a Nintendo Game Boy Advance or something along those lines that you're going to recognize a bit more. So that's about it. It's going out in the world. It's having all these little creatures. It's using them to attack enemies, to solve puzzles, to protect them and try not to lose them because they can get eaten and killed and stuff along the way. And that's always been the game. Now, where this one's different, and I think this was the similar kind of vibes as Pikmin 3. I don't know because I never picked that one up on the Wii U. Pikmin, yeah. We've done it twice. But that game, I believe you had different characters that weren't just Captain Olimar. And in this one, it's the same kind of thing. You start off in a little prelude type story where you're playing as Captain Olimar and it's kind of catching you up. You found these Pikmin, you found a dog-like creature that you've befriended, and you've fixed your ship and you're trying to get off the planet. However, you end up crashing again. But this time you managed to send out an SOS.
Not very good at flying spaceships, is he, really?
No.
I think he should be demoted.
Yeah.
Well, as you're going to find out, because Captain Olimar, he managed to send out an SOS signal this time. And
I've done it again.
That managed to signal the Rescue Corps, which are a team of 6 people and yourself, I believe it is, who also crash land on the planet. And this time...
Well, they're bloody useless, aren't they?
I think the whole race might be useless when it comes to
Yeah, they need to get better spaceship
travel.
technology.
Yeah, it could be that.
I don't think the spaceship technology... It's the dumbasses piloting them that sounds to be the problem.
User error once again, yeah?
Yeah, operator error, exactly.
It could very well be. But so what you're now doing is, instead of being Olimar trying to find... parts of his ship and how to power them and get off the planet. You are the one member of the Rescue Corps who is a silent protagonist, and you're going out in the world to try and find the missing member of your missing members of your corps, reform your team, repair your ship, then find and rescue Captain Olimar and get off planet. Now, from what I've seen through a few people that are playing this game, it's quite a quick one to get through because it's quite addicting, and before you know it, the game will be done. However,
You're not American.
Shut up. I do not have such things going on with this game. I do really enjoy it, but it's been my kind of pick up, play, put down game. I play this on the tube. I play this on my lunch breaks. I play this a little bit here and there, a little bit before bed, but it's not my main game that I'm playing. It's a Switch game. There's not many Switch games that come out that I tend to stick with because I prefer to play in handheld and just do it sort of here and there. But I am really enjoying this game. If you are still down for your Nintendo Switch games and you're still looking for new games, and well, obviously if you like Pikmin, you've probably already picked this up. No, you didn't want to do the joke a third time?
He was waiting for Dan to do the Pikmin it up.
No? Okay.
You can Pikmin it up as much as you like.
That's fine.
But I'd just like to pick brains for a minute.
You're going to pick my brains?
Pick your brains for a minute, a pick minute.
Mm-hmm.
How essential are playing the earlier ones in the series to this? Do you need to be familiar with it? I mean, is it worth, if you're wondering if this is for you, picking up some of the earlier ones for perhaps a bit cheaper?
So what Nintendo have very kindly done, I believe they previously re-released Pikmin 3 on the Switch, and now they've re-released 1 and 2 on the Switch, which I think you can buy in a double pack, and it's fairly reasonably priced. However, do that if you're just interested in going back and playing the retro games. I don't think you particularly need to do that. It kind of explains the story early on. When you're reintroduced to all the Pikmins, the mechanics and stuff, it is, it's treating you like a beginner. Every time. There's no kind of, hey, I played this game before, how about you just let me play it because I know what the heck I'm doing and just tell me the new stuff. So you're going to learn everything from the basics again, which was good for me because I played Pikmin 1 and 2 on the GameCube and I never bothered with 3, so I did need a refresher course when going back into it. But I don't think you need to play the previous games to get into this. You can just jump straight in if you want.
I have a question. It seems a bit disturbing that the Pikmin, after defeating an enemy, carry off its corpse into the distance. I find that quite creepy.
That's because
that is because this is a game I thought, I always associate with being, it's quite cuddly and nice, but that's actually quite dark.
Yeah, but also if you leave the Pikmin around an enemy too long, they'll just eat the Pikmin. So it's kill or be killed. But the Pikmin,
wow,
they take the corpses back to the ship because there are resources and things to be mined from enemies' bodies, and there's also like rocks and things you have to mine.
Dark, isn't it?
But
that's pretty grim.
But it's a nice little system because you could be carrying around like 80 Pikmin with you, and then you'll go out in the world and you'll see an enemy. You'll find like a pile of rocks and go, "Oh, that's the thing I need," and you'll get each Pikmin to pick up a rock and then walk off. And then you might see a treasure and go, oh, also take the treasure and also take these things that I found. And then you'll see an enemy and go, well, I'm down to 20 Pikmin. Can I take this enemy with these Pikmin? So or do I need to wait and then get them all back? Because each day's got a day-night cycle type thing. In the daytime, that's when you need to be going out and adventuring. At the nighttime, all the enemies become much more aggressive. So you need to get back to your ship and keep your Pikmin safe. So there's kind of it's a resource management and a time management element to it as well, because you don't want to be out at night. It's kind of.
I have a question again.
Yes.
What's the deal with the space dog?
It's just a space dog. He's your friend.
Friendly space dog.
In the earlier games, Olimar befriends a dog, but when the rescue corps arrive, they have a dog on the ship already, because they're like, hey, we just train these dogs and use them. So they've just decided
everyone needs a space dog, Dan.
It's just a feature now. They're cool. You can ride around on them. You can get them to do the same stuff Pikmin do. You can use them in battle. They're pretty handy things to have. I like them. And unlike the Pikmin, if the Pikmin get eaten, then the Pikmin are gone. You have to generate new Pikmin. If the dog gets taken out in a fight, then they just need a bit of time to rest at the ship, and then you can bring them back out again.
Oh, okay.
Dogs
that was
sorry, Tim.
Is there a failed state to it? Because you seem to need a certain number of Pikmin. What happens if you've already had those Pikmin die? You have to go get more Pikmin, do you, basically?
See, I've not encountered a fail state yet, but there is an option to restart each day. So I'm assuming if you got to that moment where all your Pikmin are dead and you can't regenerate anymore, you would just restart the day. I don't know if there's like a full game over screen. I'd have to look into. Oh no, wait, there is. It has happened. I got
all
killed
my
by an enemy.
Pikmin gone.
No, yeah, there is a game over screen, but that was because I got killed by an enemy because I got too close.
Okay.
That's Pikmin. I recommend it. I rate it. I like it.
It's a Pikmin-ass Pikmin game.
Yeah. It's very much in keeping with the previous Pikmin games, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I've always thought I'd like them, but never actually played them. They don't just something about them that doesn't strongly motivate me to actually pick one up. Pikmin one up.
Is it because it looks potentially like a platformer, Tim, and that scares you within
an
initial
very particularly a lot of platforming. I like the tactical, the sort of puzzle solving element to it. But yeah, I don't know. I've just never really got into them.
Well, now's your chance to get into it. You could either get to the new one, or you could maybe pick up Pikmin 1, but there's going to be a visual downgrade there because it was made for the GameCube, but they are available on the Switch now.
Okay.
Pretty good. Anyway, as I was talking about in the start of that little feature about Pikmin 4, Nintendo has pretty much entered its twilight years, and there's been a report
not Nintendo, the Switch. To be fair,
the Nintendo Switch has entered its twilight years. Sorry to start rumors there, but VGC, Video Game Chronicle, they have released a report this week that says that reportedly Nintendo are planning to release their next-gen console at the second half of 2024. Which would make sense because all the games, with the exception of Metroid Prime 4, all the games have been announced and given dates, and it doesn't look like we're getting anything new unless it's third party.
Yeah.
So there could be some credence to this. It's worth noting that, yes, another video game console will be on the way. Yes, we will have lots of rumors from now until then. Remember when we were talking about NX and the leaked models and the mock-ups and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, we're back to that stage. But yes. I
quite like that. That's always fun.
It's fun to do rumor chasing. Apparently this next-gen console can be used in portable mode, much like the Switch. Has an LCD screen as opposed to an OLED screen in order to keep the cost down, and comes with a cartridge slot for physical games. No word yet if that would include backwards compatibility for Switch games. You would really hope that there would, and it would give you some kind of performance boost, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. Nintendo have got a reasonable track record of maintaining immediately prior gen compatibility, certainly with like handheld stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised they're going for LCD rather than OLED, but that's almost certainly to drive costs down. I mean, I think it's a really weird time to have been developing new hardware. It's going to be, obviously, their margins are going to be pretty tight on it. And I think it's, in terms of performance, I would expect it to land somewhere around what the Steam Deck does, I think, is what my gut feeling would be, to keep it within a comparable price bracket. So how much was the Switch when it launched? It was about, if you could find one at retail, it was...
I've got a feeling it was like $299 or close to that.
Yeah, so I'd imagine they've got to be targeting, $350 or something, no more than $350, I would have thought.
Do you think?
But what's going to be fun?
Do you think that's the one thing they've identified as the one barrier to them selling more consoles was the price point?
Well, I mean, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because, I mean, the way the world is at the moment, everyone's feeling the pinch with expense. And I think it would be a little bit...
UK more than the rest of the world, I would say. But
yeah,
yes.
I mean, yes. I would say that they've probably got to be a little careful with not pricing it too high. I mean, it would, if the Series X and the PS5 hadn't come out when they did, and let's say they were launching now for 550 quid, I don't think that passed a red face test for many. I think something that is ostensibly going to be viewed as being aimed at the younger segment of the market, I think that also makes them want to drive the cost down a little bit more. I think they'll probably be targeting about 350 quid. Again, though, we don't know what the specs of the system are. I mean, it's obviously not going to be, on par with, Xbox Series or PS5. But, they know that the Steam Deck works, and Steam Deck's by no means cutting edge, but what makes it work is the really tight integration of software and hardware.
Yeah,
and they're probably going to do something similar, I would think, with the Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be. Half the fun's going to be trying to work out what their gimmick is, of course, for whatever this console ends up being.
Can I introduce another little topic as well? Something I discovered today.
I don't know. Are we changing topics?
Was it like a sneeze, but better?
Well, no, talking of new consoles and upcoming new consoles, basically. Although this is a slightly smaller thing on a slightly more budget scale, basically. But we know
Blaze we're talking about it.
Blaze Entertainment brought out the Evercades and stuff before.
Yeah.
Have announced a little thing, and I found it on Amazon, and I was like, why didn't I get a press release about this? And I found the press release in my spam folder today, so I was like, oh, well, that answers that question. But they're bringing out a thing. I'm not sure it's another
great story.
Another company called Hyper Megatech are bringing out a thing called the Super Pocket. They've got one for Capcom and one for Taito. It's £49. It looks like a little Game Boy. It's got the Capcom one's got 12 games built in: Street Fighter 2, Hyper Fighting, and Final Fight, and Ghouls and Ghosts, and a few other Capcom titles. And the Taito one's got like Bobble Bobble and Operation Wolf, and more interesting for me, New Zealand Story, which is a game that
I have a question. I have a statement.
God, that's
yep.
Wouldn't it be amazing if the Operation Wolf, you had a little light gun that you needed to point at it as well as you're doing your handheld game? That'd be incredible.
But it looks like a little Game Boy. But the thing I thought was really interesting about this is it's got an Evercade slot on the back of it as well. So you can use Evercade cartridges in it as well as the games that are built in it as well.
For all the reviewers and influencers that's for all the reviewers and influencers that got sent Evercade, because I've not met a single person that's bought one of those things. I see everyone I see playing them, they've been given them.
So like the Capcom one's got 1942, 1943, 1944, Bionic Commando and Captain Commando, the kind of beat 'em up version of it. Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Strider, Wolf of Battlefield, don't know what that is, Mega Man console version, Final Fight, Ghouls and Ghosts, Forgotten Mods. Are these all like the arcade versions of them?
By the looks of things, I think they noted when something was the console version on one of them.
Okay.
But but mainly, arcade versions, I think.
That's pretty
nice.
cool.
We'd have to see what the emulation's like on these things. But yeah, they look kind of like those when you find little handhelds and stuff in a Asda or a TK Maxx at the end when you're queuing up or something. I'm not particularly in love with the design. I think it looks quite cheap, but they're selling them for cheap, so that makes sense.
Yeah. It's not very expensive. I'm guessing it's slightly smaller than the Game Boy, but it very much looks like that in the terms of D-pad, couple of buttons.
Yeah.
type stylings. But
I'd have to see one up close before I dipped in on that, because I like the idea. But if it was like, say it's like a tiny little device that plays these things, that's like a cool little fun thing you can chuck in your pocket or your bag or something, that'd be quite fun.
You can get an idea of the size based on the back of the console, because that's got the cartridge slot in it, so you know how big that is from the Evercades.
Or I could just look in the product description and have a look at the dimensions.
You could do that too, because you understand numbers, Coleman.
Shut your dirty mouth. I mean, but it does weigh, it is 78 by 125 by 25 mil and weighs 200 grams, you'll be pleased to hear.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And that's coming out in October, just to complete that. And pre-orders are available now.
Excellent.
Preload that sucker. But if you want both the Capcom and the Taito one, presumably you need to buy two things. You can't just buy like the Taito.
That's my only problem, because I'm much more tempted by the Taito. But anyway, much more tempted by the Capcom
Mr.
Frodo. But I really kind of want New Zealand Story. I've been crying out for a remake or a remastering of that game for quite some time.
That's a great game.
I loved that game back in the day. And I'd
they
like
just
to
announced a
replay
re-release of Parasol Stars like a couple of weeks ago as well, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they move on to New Zealand Story shortly afterwards, in case someone's got the licenses for all the same things at once.
Maybe.
I mean, to be fair, though, there's not a lot else other than... Well, there's New Zealand Story, Bubble Operation... Yeah, to me, I think I get more value out of the Capcom one, to be blunt.
Yes, even though there's less games, I think there's more games I'm more likely to play more of.
But wait, there's more. If you go directly to the Evercade site, you can buy the special edition versions of these for £119.99 each.
What's so special about them?
What's special about them, Coleman?
They look different.
Oh.
There's different colours.
Sign me up!
Slightly transparent, I think, by this picture. But anyway.
Okay.
Anywho, right, couple of quick notes to go through. And the first one, unfortunately, Striking Distance Studios, which you may remember, they were the guys that they were formed from previous employees from Visceral after their layoffs from EA. They went on to create Callisto Protocol, which was very much a spiritual successor to Dead Space, before EA then went, by the way, we're remaking Dead Space. Came out, didn't perform as well as it probably could have and should have. It was a very good-looking game. It's just unfortunate that it was quite repetitive in its nature as you go through to the end, apparently, from what I heard. I played it, I enjoyed it, but following on from this, it looks like they're going to lay off, or they have laid off 32 of their employees in what they're calling a move to realign the studio's priorities to a better position for its current and future projects for success.
Whoa, steaming pile of management BS right there.
Yeah. It's a shame.
This is good for you because, good. That makes me feel better about it.
Thank you for my copy of, what they got? Who Hid My Cheese? Or what's that one they like to give out when they make people redundant? It's like a management book.
I haven't heard of this.
Where's my cheese, or who took my cheese, or something. And it's about feeling good about being let go from a company because
really?
Your future's bright. All these prospects.
That's a dick move.
I think it's Who Took My Cheese. I'm gonna have to look into that.
I'm on it.
Excellent, thank you, Dan.
Who took my Pikmin?
Who took my Pikmin? Moving on, Bandai Namco. So you may remember that Tekken 8
moved my cheese? Who moved my cheese?
That's the one. You may have heard that.
Why would someone move your cheese?
Just to mess with you, Tim.
It's
just to mess with you.
Okay.
So Tekken 8 had a closed beta, which I could not get into. I was quite upset about, but that ran on PS.
Good news. You needn't have bothered.
Yeah, that ran on. Well, no, that ran on PS5, Xbox Series X, S, and PC. From all reports, it seems to be very good and very good to be excited for. However, there's been a cracked version of the beta that is going around, which allows you to play more of the game than the beta allows you to, and play it for out of hours, which means that Bandai Namco have had to say, don't do that. We will ban you. You will get a lifetime ban if you're not careful. So if you see that floating around, maybe just wait for the open beta or try to get
lifetime.
So is it just
Namco
presumably
Bandai?
That's just the PC version though?
I would assume that's the PC version. I haven't seen anything saying otherwise, or that it's just. I haven't seen confirming or denying.
Would have
yes,
thought so.
if you want to play Tekken 8, maybe wait for the full game, or maybe wait for an open beta or a demo or something.
Although their tweet or X or whatever it is now, they quite amusingly refer to the Tekken 8 closed network test as CNT.
Mm-hmm. Closed network test.
Mm-hmm. Close it.
We should adopt it.
Yeah, you could pronounce that if you wanted to, and that's probably how they're referring to people.
Good point. Maybe don't do that.
Yes, don't do that. I'm not going to do that.
CNT.
And they access the CNT without authorization. They access the CNT without authorization. No means no, people.
Stop playing
means no.
Stop playing our network test, you little CNT.
Yeah, exactly. You're not authorized to be in our CNT.
Yes. Yes.
Look how uncomfortable we're making Tim.
Lastly, in the notes, we've got Star Wars Jedi Survivor, a game that I was really looking forward to coming out this year and did come out this year, and unfortunately was marred by technical issues. That, if you may remember, was meant to come out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, but still hasn't.
Bad idea.
There was an earnings call for EA this week where they did comment on that, saying that those versions of the game are in their early stages of the development because their priority.
I have a question.
Yes.
Why even bother now?
Don't care. Don't know.
Just
don't care.
don't.
I reckon it gets cancelled and they don't make these versions.
Yes.
Quite possibly.
I think that would be the very sensible thing to do.
I think they're making a Switch version of the game, and if you're making a Switch version, why not make PS4 and Xbox Xbox One versions of the game?
All in their twilight years.
It's being kind of it's not being looked at because they are doing additional performance improvements for PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. That's their top priority apparently, and they will share more information as soon as the next update is ready. That made me go, oh, that's right. I was giving updates whenever there was new updates. Let's have a little jump into and see how it still plays like arse. Still plays like arse on PlayStation 5.
It still plays like butts.
Still plays like butts.
Total space butts.
I liked the game when I was playing it, but it is the only game I've bought this year that I regret buying. It's already on discount and I haven't played that much of it. So
it's already discounted. By the time this game, if they ever get this game running to the potential that it should have, that it should be at, then that's going to be heavily discounted. You know, if it takes up, look how long it took them to get a Cyberpunk 2077 in full working order. I could have paid £20 for that game. Instead of pay full price for it. Although I got to get.
This is why we don't pre-order things.
You got
people.
a full refund, Coleman. So
I got. I did get a full refund. To be fair, thanks for being fair. But yeah, I'll.
Please don't eat butts.
I will keep you updated on Star Wars Jedi Survivor and see how that goes, because it does upset me. I want to jump into that game, unlock more things, do all the side missions and stuff, but it just makes me ill to play.
Oh.
And considering a lot of that side stuff is the open world stuff, and that's where it performs the worst, I really don't want to do it. So yeah, that's all the news we have this week. And that's all the games we played. That's pretty much our show.
That's pretty much it, I think. We're all done. I think we done. We done?
We done?
You done?
We done. We done.
You done?
We done.
You done? I'm Dan.
Oh, I'm Chris.
I'm done.
Hi. No, you're Tim.
Oh.
Obvious joke is obvious. Anyway, we probably ought to just do a little bit of housekeeping. I've already reminded you once to buy things with my face on it. You ought to buy other things that don't just have my face on it, but have other things related to BRB on it. You ought to go to tpublic.com/stores/burp. BRB, and you ought to buy some sweet, sweet merch. There's loads of stuff on there. You can buy t-shirts. You can buy tank tops. Why? I don't think I could rock a tank top.
Go on.
I mean,
it's the closest we have to a string vest, Dan. So, you know, you look comfortable
can't really
in
print stuff on. You can't really print stuff on string vests,
why we don't
can you?
sell string vests, isn't it, Dan? That's
you
why
can
we
buy
got
masks. You can put my face on a pillow. That's actually slightly creepy.
I'm going to get a tank top, and then I can wear it to the gym for my sweet, sweet gains.
Can you? Go pew pew. Here's the gun show. Yeah. A tapestry. We can buy tapestries. BRB tapestries.
Oh.
Will the fun never end? tpublic.com/store/BRB. There's tapestries, stickers, magnets, pillows, totes, pins. Baby bodysuits? What?
Baby bodysuits? With Dan,
I don't
think I've put the designs on any baby bodysuits.
Why is my face on a baby bodysuit? What is going on?
Tim, can you unlock it just like one order? We can just make the one order, and then we'll take the option away again because we need that ready. Just in case any of this, and if we ever hear the little pitter patter,
what is going on here?
Little podcaster feet.
What?
Oh, it is there. See, I didn't actually make that, but they've obviously done that automatically. Eating my dust, baby bodysuits. in powder pink.
Do it.
Purchase it, Dan. Add to cart. There's a big glowing green button there. You know you want to press it.
Oh, look, you can get all kinds of things with my face on it.
Yep.
Lovely.
Face mask still as well.
Yep, there we go. tpublic.com/store/BRB. Buy my face. Tim, Tuesdays are Tuesdays. Tell me about Tuesdays.
Tuesdays are indeed a Tuesday. And each and every Tuesday we do an event at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington called Tabletop Tuesday. And each Tuesday we have a different thing going on. Last week we had a guest. Thank you very much to Bez from Stuff by Bez for coming along and showing off her games and giving away a load of prizes. And we got a load of Bez's new games in store to play as well. So yeah, that was really good. So thank you very much. And it was a good night. So thank you very much to everyone that came along. We also, this week is our social deduction week. So we'll be playing Blood on the Clock Tower. Anyone that wants it to join in, we'll be having some big games of Blood on the Clock Tower. So you can come along and join in that. There are already, and I have actually already done the post this week as well, which is good. But there is already information on the top left-hand corner of bigredbarrel.com, or you can search the meetup.com. You can search meetup.com for Tabletop Tuesday, and you can join the over 2,000 members that we have there on our 5-star rated evening. So you can come along and join us on a Tuesday. And
Meaty Tuesdays.
Yeah, no prize this week, but just a cool game to come and play with some nice people. So come meet some people, play a game. We had a new person join us last week, and they'll be coming back for future weeks, they said. So they were quite pleased with it.
Future weeks.
Future weeks. Come along and join us too. Should be a good, fun one next week. And then we've got another feature game the week after and another guest the week after that, just to kind of clue people in as to what is happening. But yeah, come along and join us. It's been good lately, so Blood on the Clock Tower should be good next week.
Excellent.
That is Tabletop Tuesday over at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. That's in London. If you're there, you should go play games and talk to Tim. Tim likes being talked to. Although, to be more realistic, he would probably like to talk at you.
Yes.
It's quite possible.
That is... It's a risk.
Yes. Anywho,
yes.
If you have enjoyed the show, thank you very much for listening.
I have.
Very odd taste, but you can find more. You can find more content like this over at bigredbarrel.com. Over there, we have a comment section. We also have a link to our Discord. We have a Facebook and an X and a thread at Big Red Barrel. It's getting harder to remember all these. And YouTube at Big Red Barrel TV. All the links to those will be available in the show notes of this here episode. Whatever podcast player you're listening to, you can scroll down, go to the end of the show notes, and there will be links available. Also worth mentioning, there are chapters available as well, so you can skip to any section that you want to listen to, or skip, or go back, or whatever. It's a very handy thing to have. But anyway, while you're looking up our social media, please be sure to leave us questions, give us suggestions, feedback, anything that you want to do to interact with the show. We usually talk about it on the show. And speaking of feedback, please feel free to give us a review over at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podcast Addict, any of those places where you can leave reviews. Do so. It gets back to us. We have a nice little setup where we see every review, no matter where in the world you are, and then we can read it on the show if we particularly like it. If we don't, we can ignore it, or we'll mock you. Who knows?
Or all of the above.
Or Tim will take his shirt off and challenge you to a fight.
I mean,
yeah, he does that. He does do that.
I don't.
He likes to scream at pigeons.
He'll threaten to take you down to Chinatown, is what he does. That's what he does. Shirt comes right off.
Come
he wants to be like the amazing shirtlet. Yeah, exactly. It's all muscle, having a day off. I shall trouble you with my flabby man bits.
No questions this week. I keep forgetting to put out the call for questions. You don't have to wait for me to put out the call, guys. You can just ask questions. I'll stack up.
Ask questions. Like, why? God, why?
I usually have a little backlog going anyway, so let's get more of those.
Let's.
Dan, stop looking at CD keys and wrap us up.
I like looking at CD keys. I'm trying to work out if I can save money on things.
I just realised you were still sharing a screen.
Yeah, I did. It's all right. Good job I wasn't looking up anything else. Yeah. I was just moving and ahhing. Because Diablo 4, I'm enjoying Diablo 4, but I'm very aware that playing Diablo 4 on my PC generates a lot of heat.
Mm-hmm. Right. Where's this going?
And I know there are people who play it on the Xbox, so I was just like, how cheap can I find a copy on the Xbox? Turns out, still not very.
No.
Fun story. There we go. So no buying a second copy for me until it comes down considerably in price.
Yeah, I feel a little bit silly because I was intending to buy the PlayStation 5 version because there was like a good £20 discount on the physical version of the game at launch, and I didn't take advantage of that, and now it's at full price again. I think I can find it about £10 cheaper if I look around. I just don't want to spend so much money just yet.
I'm very tempted by picking up a copy of Aliens Dark Descent because that's currently 20% off in sales, and so I'm tempted.
Is that the real-time strategy one?
Yeah. Looks good. It looks like a game I will like.
Good.
Splendid. Right. I think
so any games you want to buy?
We should probably go. What?
Any games you want to buy?
Yeah, I mean, there are. I quite CD keys after that. It's fun little things. Yeah, I know. No, I'm going to stop because you're chastising me.
No, it's fine.
We go. Why have you typed Willies in the chat, by the way?
I did that at the start of the show. I was just testing the chat.
Why have you typed Willies there? I know, but I just thought I'd draw attention to it now. Why have you just randomly typed Willies?
And then Polygonal Willies.
And then Polygonal Willy.
Yeah.
See, I didn't have the chat visible on the screen, so I could not see that.
Oh, yeah. When you, hey, listeners, viewers, whatever, when you're getting in contact with us to leave us feedback and that, let us know if you want a live stream version of this nonsense.
Yeah, I know. You too.
See how the sausage is made.
Speaking of polygonal
watch it get crimped out.
Polygonal
that's right.
Sausage.
Oh, that's better, isn't it? Better out than in. All right, that's another podcast done. Lovely. Right. That's your lot. Thank you so much, ladies and gents. We're going to go, and we're going to come back next week just to spite you. That's right. So we'll be back fairly soon. All that really is left for me to do is remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
And I have been Coleman. It's been really weird not hearing that massive lag, because that lag before now, pretty chaotic.
Pretty chaotic.
God's sakes. We're going to go now. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Ears are quite welcome
for the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
And to add challenge to it, those are only legs. He's got no arms. He can't even grab hold of anything.
Really tiny arms. How do you go front?
He can't do it. He can't even go front to back, even if he wanted to.
I reckon he just wipes it on a leaf. Just